Boom. Good morning, everybody, or nobody, as the case may be. We're here with a short stream this morning, just while I have my coffee and wake up a bit, because I have to go and visit family today, which will be nice, hopefully. Right, music. Music. Let's try this one, because it's staring me in the face. There it is. Gonna go for a run straight off the bat, see how we go. I noticed I had a really nice afternoon, short afternoon stream yesterday, which I think I'm going to have to try to do more of, because I mean it caters for people better than first thing in the morning, right? So I'm thinking about switching up my schedule a bit, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, what I was going to say was I noticed that he Hey Wong, how you doing, dude? I was just expecting to be yapping to myself for a while. Nice to see you, how you doing? I was just saying that yeah, it was a nice afternoon stream. Making me reconsider my schedule. Oh yeah, the one thing I noticed was the microphone was really loud, because I'm still tinkering with microphone settings. So hopefully it's a little bit quieter today, although it's similar sort of levels on OBS. Still playing with settings, so it's another sort of test sort of stream. Yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks, dude. So what time? I don't know. I'm probably still going to do morning stuff, because I like getting up, having a coffee, and being productive in some way. It's a bit loud. Okay, thanks, dude. I will change that in a minute then. Yeah, it was really loud yesterday, which is surprising because it's always been quite quiet. So I guess I just went too far the other way. 1 second. Should be an easy fix. I'll just turn the gain down a bit. Let's try that. How are we sounding now? Oh, it sounded good before. Yeah, I have. I've been playing with settings to try to get it to pick up the beginning of my voice when I say things like for, to make it sound like for instead of or. And so sometimes sounds like oh instead of so, because of the noise reduction software that I'm using. So when you say you thought it sounded good before when? Because it seems to change every day at the moment. Can you remember when? That part's better for sure. Okay, nice. What's the volume level like now? Oh, and sorry for ending the run sort of mid-run, or at the beginning of the run the other day. I think I noticed you were lurking in the background. Then I felt bad after ending it prematurely. And I vowed to myself, while I'm on a hitless run, and I'm currently hitless, I see it through to the end, you know. I see it through either to the end or until I get hit. Don't end it prematurely, unless it's like an emergency, and it wasn't an emergency. And as soon as I ended it, I thought that was bad. You still think it's a little loud? Okay, that's cool. Like, are we talking in general or compared to the game and the music? Maybe I'll just turn the overall mic down a bit to -2. See how that goes. And move the mic a bit away from me as well. Thing is, it's got to pick up the sounds of the voice as well. Just voice, okay. See how it is now. I think I got that hitless, didn't I? But yeah, it's been kind of a pain to tinker with the settings. I suppose it was a pain to get the game stream quality good as well. Lots of like fiddling with the settings to try to make it as smooth as possible and stuff, and look as good as it can across different games. And then came tinkering more with the sound, you know. It's sweet that you watch and fall asleep sometimes, assuming it's in a positive way and not that I'm just boring you and putting you to sleep. So were you asleep at that moment when I decided to just end the stream randomly early? In which case that's fine, because then you weren't actually watching and hoping for a hitless run. Oh, you're in the US, yeah, that makes sense. In which case, there you go. There's a reason I'm still streaming in the morning then for my American buddies. And I also met a really good guy in Rocket League the other day from Canada, and we had some great games. He's a Grand Champ 1, and he lied initially and said he was D3 C1 to get into some casual games with me. But then, because he was better, and obviously the lobbies were better quality, I had much more fun playing in decent level games than my usual lobbies. I found it a lot easier to play as well, because you can read the play much more easily because it's more consistent, you know. It's 2 AM right now, yeah. Wake up at this time normally for your friends in the UK. Ah, okay. Wait, you'd wake up at 2 AM normally? Oh god, that is an early start. Is that for, or just stay up? Yeah, I was going to say that'll probably be easier. Is that for playing Rocket League, or some other reason? How's the volume all now, by the way? It's looking a bit low to me, but I'll review it on the VOD as well. Hopefully it's good. I have to figure out the difference between gain and volume as well, like on the sound effect. Hello, backstab, thank you. Do you think it sounds good? Okay, great. Thanks, dude. Appreciate the feedback. I don't know why I couldn't get the backstab there for so long. Just wasn't giving me the option. And I just had to text my ex because she gets mad when you don't text in half a second. Oh dear. Good luck with that. You're probably gonna need it. The world is full of fraught relationships. Ex or otherwise, you know? You just stay up till she goes to school, then you go back to bed. But yeah, I've had my fair share of ups and downs when it comes to relationships. My goodness. I am now happily single. Thank you very much. A good old bachelor. And you've given up as well. Yeah, I gave up a little while ago, it feels like. What? Oh. It must focus. Oh man, I didn't get under his neck. Alright, whatever. Yobu. Was messing up on Gearby yesterday as well because I wasn't paying attention. Realize you enjoy talking to yourself more. It's funny, yeah, because I've been noticing that too recently. Since I've started this new life for myself and moved back into my house and living by myself with no relationship, no friends, like, and a fresh start. After having left here, like, I don't know, 8 years ago or something, and then coming back. Was it really that long? No, it can't be that long. But anyway, yeah, I've noticed that too recently. Like, I'll just have more fun with myself now. And when I think back to, like, the relationships that I used to think were, like, good for me, I recognize that they weren't. So yeah, it's nice to have this period where I'm just like completely forgetting about relationships and stuff. And knowing that if one comes along again, because I'm so much happier on my own now, it would have to be a damn good relationship to pass the test, if you see what I mean. It's going to have to be a damn good relationship if it's going to beat the relationship that I have with myself, you know? And that's kind of a good place to be. I'm not doing that. Okay, we're practicing Gyobu because I'm doing it wrong. feel the same way. That's really interesting. Yeah, it's kind of cool though. Although I feel like I'm much later to the later to that realization in life, because I'm pretty old now. I'm 41 now. How old are you? It took me a while. 18, yeah. Well, that's cool that you've got there so early. This is phase 1. I'm really not paying any attention. We're fine though. I am a very useful 40-year-old though. I'm not gonna lie. I feel better now than I did in my mid-20s when I was working in IT and in a long-term relationship, living with a girl, like planning to get married and all of this stuff. Been there for a while, but you got lured in by the devil. Was the devil a woman? Like, what happened? Is the devil a female? Oh, very nice one. To be fair, then maybe that's the early lesson that I missed out on, which is good for you in the long run because you've learned the lesson earlier rather than later, like I did. I got lured in by multiple devils, and they all dressed up as angels. And took me along for rides, and I guess I was too nice to see it. And also, like, I guess not happy enough in myself to recognize it too. So I felt like I needed their, companionship. Not very rude again, because you even told her you don't date, but you still got with her. Yeah, it needs to be made aware. So you've had an earlier lesson, which is good. It sounds like. Not that I don't have any love in my life, because I have a neighborhood cat who I love very much. Not even my cat, but she comes in for cuddles, and it's sweet. And I'm currently falling in love with a streamer as well. But not in a bad way at all. Yeah, I thought about getting a cat of my own, but I knew that she would probably still be around when I moved back here, and I can't really see myself getting my own cat while she's around, because that would totally mess up our relationship, She might not come in anymore, they might not get on with each other. It wouldn't be fair on my cat, it wouldn't be fair on her. I've still got to try to meet the owner of this cat as well, because I've got a bone to pick with him. I think it's a him. I think I know who it is, but I've never spoken to him. And the bone is, why aren't you treating that beautiful cat for her fleas? I assume it's fleas. Because she's constantly, like, you know, twitching and licking herself and biting herself and can't really settle for very long. Poor girl. She doesn't have, like, a flea collar or anything, and I assume he doesn't use any stuff for her. I think, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think he has quite a lot of animals, like a few cats, and I think if it's that guy, I saw him walking a dog and stuff. But I fear that if I was to introduce myself to him, I would mention the flea situation and maybe offend him. Because it's not my cat, obviously. How dare you tell me how to deal with my own pets, sir? You know. No, I would do it. I would do it tactfully, obviously. Or at least try. Whoppa. Okay, what the fuck, dude? Probably has no idea. Well, I was wondering, but I mean, if it is his cat, mind you, if he has multiple animals, then it's like, I don't know, yeah. He may have even tried to treat her for it, but just because he has, like... Okay, dude. Because he has, like, so many animals or whatever, he might just not be able to control them. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But he seems like a cool guy. If it's who I think it is. So I might just want to introduce myself to him anyway. He's got like long grey white hair. Seems like a bit of a dude, you know. A bit of a dude. We like dudes. Dudes have character. Ask if I can have it. Yeah, I mean, if he has lots of cats, then maybe, right? Who knows? That'd be funny. I just whiffed again. At least he's doing the move more regularly. Whiffing all over the shop. Maybe we can get him. Yeah. You love dudes? Yeah, me too. Dudes are cool. Let's move on anyway. I don't know, to me on OBS now I look about the same volume as Sekiro. I feel like turning Sekiro down. Is Sekiro too loud? I don't really know anymore. Sometimes though, what I see on OBS doesn't really match with what I hear on the VOD, so... Can you hear the music? The game sounds way quieter than me. That's so weird because it looks the same volume on here, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'll keep it at 10 and we'll keep Spotify at 11. You can hear the music, okay. Yeah, I think it's partly this NVIDIA broadcast software. Because since I put that on, I noticed that it must add its own gain a lot, but there's no control over its volume. So I then have to temper the volume in OBS. It's interesting. Did I load Bull? I think I did. The game is barely louder than the music. Really? Because on my graphs it looks a lot louder. like almost twice as loud. That's so weird. And certainly for me, the game is a lot louder than the music. To me, the game looks about the same as me, and the music's like half of everything. Grudgy! Good morning, buddy. It is loud enough. What is loud enough? Max it out. Max what out? Everything? The volume of Sekiro is loud enough, yeah. This is the problem. If you rely on one person's feedback, the problem is, like, I know the stream sounds totally different on my phone versus my headphones, and my Bluetooth speaker versus my headphones. You know, like, each person has their own kind of... Yeah, you went to Savio's, and it's super loud, isn't it? Yeah. Who told you? That's why I mentioned it yesterday. But I have, I noticed yesterday, Crunchy, that my voice was way too loud yesterday, so I've tried to pull it down a bit today. How am I sounding to you today? But yeah, Savio's sound is insane. His is the only stream I go into, and like literally have to turn it down immediately. Too loud yesterday, yeah. When I was reviewing our VOD yesterday, which was a really sweet stream yesterday afternoon, by the way, I really enjoyed that. And I'm glad I popped on. But yeah, when I watched it back, it was like louder than everyone else's stream, which was the first time my voice had been like louder than other people's. You had to turn the volume to like 10, yeah, because of Savio's, yeah. Oh, okay, well, thanks for popping in, dude. Yeah, I'm not going to be on long because I've got to get ready to go to family, but I thought I would do a bit of Sekiro with coffee and stuff. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for popping in, dude. Yeah, going back to my parents to see my brother and my niece. Thanks, dude. Yeah, it should be a nice day. I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow afternoon as well. We'll see. Have a good day, dude. Did I kill Bull? I feel like I killed Bull. I did kill Bull. Bull is killable. But yeah, it's really hard to get the sound settings right, and I think it's harder when you have a condenser mic with lots of like creaky chair background noise and stuff. I'm starting to envy these streamers with boom arms and sort of the other type of microphone that I can't remember the name of. What are you watching on, by the way, Wong? Are you on a phone? Because like my phone, because I have Dolby Atmos on the phone, it kind of levels out things itself. I've noticed that if I'm watching a stream, when someone's talking, it'll make like the game sound and the music or whatever quieter, and then if they stop talking, the game and the music will get louder to kind of fill in the gaps. You're on your phone, yeah, okay, so that's probably why then. Whereas if you listen like with a good pair of headphones on a PC, on a browser, the sound levels will be totally different, and they won't go up and down. Like, So that's probably why you're... I don't know. I have to be aware of that too, right? If I tailor settings for one person, it can mess up someone else's. They can just turn the volume down then. Yeah, I guess what I'm going for is trying to keep it similar to most streams on Twitch, with the idea that it's nice that for people to like come in and then think they don't have to tailor their volume for me. Like me and Crunchy were joking about Saviour's stream, right? Which is always really loud compared to everything else on Twitch. So it's kind of annoying to go in there, have your ears blown out, and then have to remember to turn it down, you know? So you have volume on low, and I'm sounding good to you. Is that the case? If that's the case, we're good. Can enjoy that. Been to a few of those streams, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave it for now then. Like I said, I will review the VOD because I have changed the settings since yesterday. But yeah, last night when I was reviewing yesterday afternoon's stream, which you can compare on the VOD as well, of course, if you want to. It's just on the stream VOD. Twitch VODs. My Twitch videos. I was listening to it on my headphones on my PC like normal, and even on really low volume like I normally have my PC volume set, I had to turn my Twitch down for listening to me, which was the first time I'd had to do that because it sounded very boomy, very loud. Genie first time, let's go. We like that. Yeah, okay, dude. If you're game for playing around with it, it's always interesting for me to tinker with these things. So yeah, that'll be cool. See what you think. But yeah, for me, I was like, oh my god, I'm so loud. What the fuck? I have just turned myself up again slightly. Only slightly though. I've turned the gain down. I think it was the gain that was the problem yesterday. But there's also loads of other settings that affect it, like the threshold on the compressor and the output gain on the compressor, and just the NVIDIA broadcast software itself seems to put a lot of gain on in the background that I have no control over. So I have to consider that as well. Choose. Yeah, I will join you. Sekiro has over 2,000 viewers at the moment. That's exciting. Sounded a little louder. I think it's just because I was talking kind of loud. Yeah, maybe. The point with the compressor, though, which was on yesterday, is that it should sort of level out the sound volumes no matter how loud I'm speaking. That's the point of the compressor. It might not be configured properly, of course. But just the compressor itself has so many little settings to tinker with. And interestingly, this girl that I said I was falling in love with, this streamer, she has the best sound, dude. Best sound setup ever. But I think she does like YouTube videos and stuff, and yeah, I'm so envious of her sound setup. It just, her voice, it sounds so good. I mean, it looks like she's got a really good mic though, a really good mic setup compared to mine. Got the boom arm going on and stuff like that. And it's definitely the other kind of microphone, not a condenser, which I'm definitely thinking about getting at some point now. I don't know what it's called. You get condenser microphones, which like I've got. But there's another type, and I can't remember the name of it. I think it begins with a P. You skip through the VOD and it all seemed the same, just a bit louder than now. Okay. Well, that's... If now is a bit quieter, then we're good, because it was, yeah, it was too loud for me yesterday. I was definitely louder yesterday than most other streamers. Just by a little, yeah. Again, you being on phone, your phone is going to sort of level out volume at your client side more than headphones on a PC would, so gotta kind of consider that as well. It's definitely more difficult to test sound on a phone, if not impossible. You kind of need something like headphones on a PC to gauge the sound level differences more than just a phone. Have you got headphones on the phone, or is it just phone speaker? I haven't actually tested my headphones on my phone. Phone speaker, but listen to earbuds sometimes, yeah. Yeah, so definitely my phone speaker, especially if you have Dolby Atmos turned on. Or even in general, I basically turned Atmos on for my phone before I even tested much. But yeah, I do notice on my phone that it basically just levels all the volumes out for everything. And like I say, if a streamer goes quiet for a bit, and they have quiet music in the background normally when listening on a PC, the music will get louder when they go quiet. It kind of automatically balances it. So that you can hear hear the quieter things. So if I'm talking now, presumably the music's quite quiet, but if I shut up, did the music get louder? And has it gone a bit quieter now? No, it stayed the same? Okay. Interesting. Maybe that is a Dolby Atmos thing then. Maybe you have different settings, I don't know. Of course it's going to vary depending on phone and audio settings on the phone and all sorts. I'm really impressed with my phone's audio, phone's sound on the phone speakers, though. Then again, I suppose I would be, because even though I got a budget phone, I got it like a couple of months ago, and the phone I had before that was like 8 years old. I went from a Galaxy S7, which I bought when it was basically the best phone available, to a Galaxy A55, which is like a budget Samsung Galaxy phone these days, and it's been a huge upgrade. Which is kind of nice, especially the phone speaker, like with Dolby Atmos on, like listening to a podcast on it or something, or a stream on it. I'm amazed by the sound quality coming out of, you know, a basically non-existent phone speaker. It's kind of cool. What phone do you have out of interest? Oh my goodness, I can't play today, which is fine. I'm not paying attention, so it makes sense. iPhone, okay. I have zero experience with iPhones because I don't like Apple as a company. Never have, probably never will. But I love eating apples, but that's as far as I go with Apple. As a techie, I've always been against Apple as a company, on principle. Red or green, though? Both. I mean, I tend to get Brayburns or something like that, which have red and green in them. They are simultaneously both red and green. Although at the moment, because there was an offer on Gala apples, I've got some Galas, and I don't think I'll get Galas again. I don't like the texture. I don't really like the taste as much. But yeah, I've always been against Apple as a company because of their lack of compatibility, and they kind of force you into buying their own hardware to work with their own hardware, and they've always been anti-compatibility with other manufacturers and other offerings. It's like a forced tech monopoly, right? If you want Apple stuff to work with other devices, you need other Apple devices. And that's stupid. Well, it's a business decision rather than a make the world a better place decision, you know. It's for money, not for make the world a better place. That's why I don't like it. You know, they put caramel apples out for Halloween sometimes. What's a caramel apple? I'm not sure I know that. I'm not an apple connoisseur by any means. Caramel. Not sure I've heard of that. Everything is for money now. Yeah, that's the problem. Oh, that's one of the problems. But that's the main problem facing society, which you may have heard me yap on about if you're hanging around in the channel a bit in the background. You may know that I'm very anti-monetary system and here to challenge it, because challenging the monetary system is a surefire way of making the world a better place as quickly as possible. Because everything being for money not only causes damage left, right, and center to people's lives across the globe, but it's also a completely meaningless pursuit. You spelled it wrong, so it's caramel. Oh, okay. I still don't know what a caramel apple is. I know what caramel is in general. It's kind of like, you know, sweet something. It's a sweet something. I've never heard of caramel apples. Oh, unless you mean like... Oh, I know what you mean. We call them toffee apples. You mean an apple coated in caramel, right? Like an apple dipped in caramel. So it has like a hard kind of toffee caramelly shell. Yeah, okay. I know what you mean now. I thought you meant like a type of apple, you know, like Granny Smith and Gala and Brayburn. But yeah, you could, in the US you call them different. We call them toffee apples. Yeah, I remember those. I remember those when I was little. Getting a toffee apple on a stick. Hurting my teeth because it's so hard to bite through, you know. Used to get them at fairs, like fairgrounds and stuff like that. I always went for toffee apples at fairgrounds rather than candy floss. I don't know why, I never really fancied candy floss. I'm not even sure I really ever had it. I don't know why. Probably because I had a toffee apple instead. Still ate it though, yeah. Yeah, they were good. I really liked it. It's a highlight of going to a fairground, right? The toffee apples. Popcorn apples? What's that like? Apples with popcorn on the outside? Apples just popcorn and caramel. Oh, okay. Wait, I forgot to buff. Never mind. We are just playing with the old man. Now we get to play with him longer. Casually walking around his big attack. Like a disrespectful little Sekiro that we are. See if we can keep it rolling. Oh. Oh, okay, that's actually really useful. So what happened there was normally when he backsteps I can just jump in and hit him. But because he backstepped into a wall and I was close to him when I did a follow-up attack, he did a dodge. And then after the dodge he can do a quick attack, and if I'm doing something other than dodging, like that's what I was expecting him to do. That's actually a really good learning hit again. Thanks, old man. Thanks for the lesson, buddy. Bang. That was fun. Let's go again. Do you know Sekiro? Well, I know you joined at Rocket League, didn't you? Sweet that you're still hanging out when I'm not playing Rocket League, by the way. You've seen it but not played it, I guess. Is it a game that you fancy playing? Or you stay for the personality? Oh, that's sweet. Oh, you're making me blush. Actually, you're not. I'm kind of... But it's very flattering to hear, thanks. That was going to be my next question. Why are you here? Is it the general personality or the fact that I'm here to try to change the world and make it a better place? Then again, I suppose they go hand in hand, right? Oh yeah, I did ask you this before and you said you were too poor. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. In which case, stick around, we'll make the world a better place and then you won't feel poor again and nobody will. Because feeling poor is just such a dumb thing to feel as a human being. And it comes purely from the monetary system and nothing else. So what would you, as a youngster, compared to me anyway, 18, what ideally would you want to do in life, do you think? You ever had any, I don't know, passions and drives yet? To be fair, at 18 I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but you've moved like 19 times being homeless, really? Seriously? Oh, I was just asking what you would want to do, what you wanted to do, like maybe when you were young, what you want to do in life. Seriously, Jesus, dude. Although now you can forget that question if you want, because now I'm more interested in moving 19 times being homeless. What's the story there? Like with your parents or what? If you don't mind me asking, of course. Obviously you don't have to share if you don't want to. But that sounds crazy, dude. Sorry to hear that. Doesn't sound fun at all. Sounds very stressful, in fact. And I'm sorry to hear it. Only your mum? Okay. So what, you never knew your dad, or he left when you were young, or... Again, if I'm overstepping, or if you don't want to share, then by all means just say, I'm not comfortable. I am the sort of person that will just keep asking questions. In prison your whole life? Oh shit, dude. All you know is you have the same name, Jesus. Do you see him in prison then, or? I'm glad you don't mind. Do you like visit him, or is it just kind of, you know he's in prison and you don't see him? Somehow I kill Leishan. GG, old man. Sekiro. He tried to kill you when you were babies? Oh my god, dude. I'm so sorry to hear that. Although, if you don't remember it because you were babies, I suppose that's something. So it hasn't really affected you, maybe? Hopefully. Like babies, like really young, or... So you don't have any trauma from it or anything? That's something, you know, it could be worse. You lost twin brothers because of him? Oh shit, dude. Wait, he actually managed to kill your twin brothers? Jesus. Crazy, dude. Holy shit. Well, shout out to your mum. I can only imagine what that must have been like for her to go through, you know? And you, of course, but like you say, if you're the youngest and you don't remember much, it's... Yeah, they would have been the oldest, but your mum told you he drowned them. Holy shit, man. That's horrible. Yeah, well, I mean, in that case, obviously, you know, you never had a dad. You definitely don't have a dad, and you're much better without a dad, right? Much love to your mum though for going through all of that. That must have been horrible for her. How is she, if you don't mind me asking? Is she doing okay now? I mean, doing okay. I don't know if that's really possible after such a tragedy, but she's good and she's married. Okay, that's great. That's good to hear. Hopefully happily. Jesus. Okay, well my reason this is my reason for being here, to try to make the world a better place, right? Is to minimize somewhat yeah, well, I mean, if it's like I say, going through something like that, it's gonna have ramifications for the rest of your life, no matter how much you want to change, I imagine. But I hope she's, anyway, I wish her the best, and you guys the best, obviously. But yeah, that's why I'm here, to try to change things, because if I can identify root causes of issues that lead to this sort of behavior, right? If you attack things at a root cause, then the potential benefit of addressing that root cause issue is huge, because it, like the monetary system, for example, right? If people are unhappy in life, generally it's because of financial issues, struggling to get by, living in a meaningless society. All of this stuff has a psychological effect on everybody, which can then cause people like you, your mum and your dad, to get together and have babies when they probably shouldn't be, while they muddle through the world and try to make sense of their reality and stuff like this. And it just has knock-on effects and trauma for like the next generations and all of this. Whereas if the world was operating differently, such things would be minimized, right? They wouldn't completely go away, because some people are gonna have mental issues, bad brain chemistry, bad luck genetically and things like that. Yeah, like bipolar and anger issues. Like, yeah, some people are going to be, but the point is, in a different society, they would get the best possible support for these issues, and the people providing the support would be there not for the money, but for the passion and the drive and the interest in helping people as much as they can, right? Whereas if you're struggling financially, in the US especially, and you have issues, and you can't have health insurance, for example, then you're not gonna have the opportunity for support, right? And it's all in the name of money, which is stupid, because it's what everyone wants, but it's never going to happen. Well, that's exactly the mentality that makes it never going to happen. But the fact that everyone wants it means it can very easily happen if we all decide to make it happen. So that's what I'm here to do, is to recognize that fact, explain that fact, advertise that fact, and come up with practical steps forward for everybody to make it a reality. Because the only way it's going to happen is if everyone decides. Yeah, and I'm coming from a place of challenging the systems in a very objective, philosophical way. Like the political system, the monetary system, economic system, they're all linked. Generally, it's all coming down to money and power, because all money is power. It's power that every individual has based on a number next to their name. That's all it is, the power to consume and manipulate. It's very easy to change because there's no basis for it in reality. So in theory, it's very easy to change. Everyone in the world could wake up tomorrow and go, okay, we're going to work differently. We're not going to use the monetary system anymore. We're going to organize our activity differently. And that's possible, right? That is possible. That's a fact, because the monetary system is only a shared belief system amongst everyone in the world, right? So that's how easy it is to change. But the reason you think it's never going to happen and it feels impossible to change is because everyone feels powerless to change it, even though everyone has the power to change it. And in fact, they are the only ones with the power to change it. So it's simultaneously a very easy thing to change while feeling like an impossible thing to change. But now, what I'm trying to do here is the fact that I recognize now that humanity has the internet. The internet is a tool that can connect everyone in the world in real time, simultaneously, and people, we now have the tools in order to make a globally connected humanity and a global democratic process where we can change our activities and decide how we want to change our activities together, and completely decentralize any power structures like the monetary system, the political system, and things like that. And that will be made easier and easier the more people come together on the internet. And that's why I want to start here. Initially through Twitch streaming, but also YouTube stuff, and obviously it's up to everyone. So it's everyone's responsibility to change the world. And everyone has the power to change the world. In fact, nobody else has the power to change the world other than everybody. Does that make sense? So it's that mentality that we need to challenge first, this "it's never going to happen" feeling. Because the only thing stopping it from happening is that feeling. Does that make sense? Because of what I've described, literally the only thing stopping us is us. Right? The government will just kill us off. Okay, that's an interest. That's a fairly typical response, right? But imagine this, right? You get enough people coming together on the internet, making a new democratic system, right, where everyone votes on everything, we'll start off with a vote. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Do you want war or do you want peace? And then through that, we'll be like, oh, look, humanity's pretty connected. Like 93, 97% of people want to live rather than die, right? So we'll start with that basis. Suddenly, humanity is connected. We have fundamental things in common. And then it's like, okay, well, anyone who wants war or wants to die or wants to kill, things like that, it'll be easier to stop listening to those people. Because the only power that the government have is the power that we give them every day by deferring our responsibility to change the world onto them and then complaining about it. Point being, if you get enough people together, like you say, it's what everyone wants, but it's never going to happen. But the fact that it's what everyone wants, all we need to do first is recognize that it's what everyone wants. And then everyone can see that it's what everyone wants. And then you can stop listening to the few people who may want war and mayhem or power for themselves and things like that. You just simply stop listening to them. And then what are they going to do? You're talking, 3% of the world population, maybe, that are clinically psychopaths or whatever. They have no real power because they're never going to be able to just kill us off, as you put it. Because they're going to have it'll be millions, billions, potentially to one human being. And they have no real power other than the power that we give them by listening to them instead of ignoring them, which is what we should be doing. Does that make sense? It's definitely possible, but you don't see it happening. Right, okay, well, you've just gone in the space of a couple of minutes from saying it's never going to happen to it's definitely possible, but you don't see it happening. That's progress, right? That's progress. So that's good. Going in the right direction. So my job for the rest of my life, now that I haven't killed myself over the past few years of depression when I could have easily killed myself because of the feeling that it's never going to happen, right? I now have a bonus life to live, and it's like, okay, I can see it as a fun adventure to try to change the world as best I possibly can for the benefit of everybody, not just for me, not for my own money or power or glory or greed or anything like that. It's literally for the benefit of everyone and planet Earth in general, because that's where divine joy is, just that aim. You don't even have to get there, but if you're aiming at it, that's where real joy and love is, right? That's the right way. So my job, I've decided for the rest of my life, is to try to make that possibility feel realistic for as many people as possible, because as soon as it does, that's when things can start snowballing. And my idea with streaming and going online is I know it has to be born on the internet, because the internet connects people, has the power to connect everyone on the planet in a way that humanity has never had before, right? The internet's only been around, 30 years or something? 40 years? Only in my lifetime. Yeah, and at some point I will branch out into other social media platforms and stuff. Twitch is really just the starting point. Dumping everything on YouTube. starting to think about podcasting and putting that on YouTube, maybe podcasting live on Twitch and saving it to YouTube, that sort of thing, instead of just gaming, because people tend to see a game and then they'll think, it's like someone came in here the other day and we had a great conversation, and they said, I was playing Rocket League at the time, and they said, hi, I'm here for the philosophy. Am I in the right place? Because I put a philosophy tag on, and then we had a great conversation for like an hour and a half. And I haven't seen him since, sadly, but it was really good. But at that point, I just put the game down and I was just in free play, like barely touching the controller. Bit like now, where I'm just talking to you. Anyway, for me, it's a place to start, and I'm obviously, I have to stay positive. And when it feels hopeless or like no one's here and it's not, what I envisage, what I fall back on is, at least I'm trying, at least I'm on the right path, at least I have the right aim in mind, and that keeps me going. And what can I do in the rest of my life to make me feel happy and content when I die is the only thing to make my life now worthwhile, is to challenge the systems that cause everyone grief in the world, in order to try to change the world as best I possibly can, for the benefit of everyone, for the benefit of life on Earth in general. And if I'm aiming at that, it doesn't matter if I fail, because I know I'm aiming at it, and then I can die happy, And this is coming from someone who's worked in IT, worked in business, volunteered for mental health charities, gone back to college and university several times, tried traveling, had various relationships. I've been through a lot in my life. And I've never been content like I've started being recently, when I've just changed my aim, and at least I have a purpose now, It's not going to be easy. Well, you know what they say about worthwhile pursuits in life. They are never easy. But the point I'm trying to make is, it doesn't matter if it works out or not. For you and for me, and I bet you anything, for you and for every human being on the planet, if you want the best life you possibly can have, given that you only have one life as your current human form on planet Earth, you only have one life. If you want that life to be as adventurous and meaningful and fulfilling and joyful as it possibly can be, the only way to achieve that is to align yourself with the aim of truth, love, and meaningful pursuit, like I'm describing, right? To try to make the world a better place for everybody. That's the only way that you're going to possibly experience divine joy in your life, right? If instead you live in service to yourself, and you just want, material comforts, you want a relationship that makes you happy, you want this, and this for yourself. If you aim at that, and trust me, I used to, you're never going to be happy, like content and fulfilled. You're never going to reach divine joy. You might feel happy sometimes, like I used to, but this is why I don't like the term happiness, because it doesn't encompass divine joy. Like, it's just nowhere near meaningful fulfillment and contentment, in life. And I've only recently, occasionally, really felt connected with the universe and truth and love since turning away from relationships, like I was saying to you, and going on my own path. And being with myself and aligning myself with what I know is true and loving and the right path. Not for me, but for the universe, right? For life in the universe. When you align yourself with that, you feel at points so utterly joyful. Like recently, I've actually cried on stream a couple of times because I've become so overwhelmed with joy that I will be laughing through my tears, which is an experience that I'd never had before this year, before starting on this path. And when you're in that, when you're feeling that level of connection with truth and love in the universe, that there's just no greater feeling, and at the same time you just want it for everybody, and at the same time you can feel despair and sadness at the state of the world. It's like you feel every level of emotion all at once, and it just completely overwhelms you. But it's such, that's why I call it like in touch with divinity. That's my definition of divinity, right? Is that level of awareness and connection with truth and love in the universe that you just become overwhelmed, and it's a feeling that you just wish upon everything in the universe. You wish, you hope that every human on the planet can at least experience this at least once in their life, because it's an incredible feeling, right? You were going to get a bike because you know you'd be happy like that. I mean, obviously, like for example, I invested in a new PC so that I could do this. So obviously, certain material possessions are going to be useful tools, right? And a bike might help you get around and expand your avenues into like give you more opportunities in life and stuff like that, and obviously that's a good thing. Those things are good things, but you have to. My point is, if people get too bogged down in like the material, like they'll get a new console for themselves every year, or a new phone upgrade every year, or a new company car every 3 years, and it's like they're chasing the material quotes happiness, but they're never really happy or content, because it's actually meaningless, because their aim and their purpose for having those material things is to make themselves happier, rather than to use them as tools to make the world a better place and align themselves with truth and love and all the things that I've just been saying, right? Because really, material possessions and stuff are meaningless unless they are used for a purpose like I'm describing. Does that all make sense? How do you feel about what I've been saying as I embark upon eating an apple? Because I've got to go soon. Like, you're only 18, so you probably haven't really thought about this stuff. I know I hadn't when I was 18. Mind you, the world was a very different place when I was 18. You like that I'm giving myself a good goal to achieve. Yeah, oldies love talking about what their younger days used to be like. Well, the thing is, we have a unique perspective on the world and how it's changed, and you'll have that when you're older too. And that's a perspective that only comes with age, right? You can compare how the world was when you were like I'm comparing how the world, or how I felt and how the world seemed to me when I was your age. Having had, 23 years since I was your age. You like that I am giving myself a good goal to achieve. I guess my initial reaction to reading that was like, I'm not giving it to myself as much as I am recognizing that that is the only path forward for not just me, but for everything that matters in reality, in the universe. That's what I was trying to communicate before with my long monologue about it. Like, it's not like I'm giving it to myself for myself to achieve it for myself. Or even to achieve it, because it may never be achieved. You know? What I'm doing is simply aligning myself with the true meaningful purpose in life. Because that's the only thing worth living for, and I was trying to extrapolate this to say it's the only thing that is worth living for any human being. Like how they stopped teaching cursive. I'm not sure what that means. You just don't see it that way. You're still not sure what you live for. Yeah, and like I was saying, I didn't think about that stuff when I was 18 either. Although I started thinking about it when I was 18 because I started smoking weed when I was 18. And weed and things like that change your perspective, right? And when you forcibly change your perspective, you start putting things into perspective in general. You kind of can't help it. And the strongest example of that was my one and only mushroom trip, where I was properly tripping, quotes, like out of my body, like indescribable trip, although I did a good job of describing it with Ichiro Wakey. VOD is on YouTube if you want to hear that story. I'm not going to repeat it now, but it's in the descriptions of the VODs I would have mentioned, talking about drugs and my mushroom experience with Ichiro Wakey. It's on my YouTube if you're interested. But yeah, my point was, it's taken me quite a while to get onto this path and realize it's the only way. What's the YouTube? There's a link in my Twitch. It's like, it should be right under the channel. There should be a YouTube icon or something. But it's just Clapfish TV, all one word. You think about a lot, you're a big overthinker. Okay. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Some people feel like they're overthinkers, but actually most people are underthinkers. But let me know if you can't find the YouTube. But yeah, it's just Clapfish TV. Or there's a link on the Twitch page. It's not very well organized at the moment. It's just basically one big playlist of Twitch VODs. But if you go through the playlist, Ichiro, they'll be in the descriptions on the list of videos. Most will just be broadcasted live on Twitch, and then that's probably not got much in there. But I tried to mark the ones with some good content in, at least with descriptions. And there'll be one saying about Ichiro Wakey, drugs and the mushroom experience, and you'll just have to sort of flick through to find it, but you know, it's there. You've thought a lot about things, and yeah, you said that's sweet. Thanks, dude. I mean, I say thanks, but I'm not here for money or for like, for example, if I was to get offered affiliate on Twitch, I'm honestly not sure I would take it, because that would mean ads would appear on my channel and stuff, and it would become more about generating money. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm losing money as I'm living off savings currently and don't have any income. But I'm okay for the time being, and I know that my path is to stop thinking about money and to do what's right. And so I'm not thinking about that at the moment, as far as, you know, living sensibly off the savings that I do have. That's all I'm thinking about. When it comes to money, the rest of my energy is going on improving myself, getting myself fit and healthy again, being productive in the way that I can be to make the world a better place, basically. It's a very simple aim, and once you align yourself with it, a lot of joy comes from it, and a lot of illumination comes from it too. It's like, it's a simple, fundamental aim that then make all the details kind of work themselves out in ways that can sometimes surprise you. You've gotten over that. We will all die one day. A few years ago, you remember just to go crazy over it. Yeah, well, I remember going through something similar. When I was 14, I visited Canada for the first time. And Canada was beautiful then. Toronto was such a stunning, clean city. It was beautiful. Canada is a shithole now, sadly. But when I went when I was 14, it was, you know, really, I was, you know, I wanted to live there, basically. But around that time, I started having interesting thoughts, like existential crisis sort of thing as a teenager. And I remember James, the Best Of, was the album that got me through it on my Discman, my new Discman that I bought in Canada, alongside my first pair of rollerblades. But yeah, I remember going to Niagara Falls and thinking, I kind of just want to jump off the edge, you know? And sort of toying with the idea of existence and dying and my mortality. And then I actually went a bit crazy when I was about 17, 18. When I was about 18, your age. When it all came to a head. And I remember just thinking, shit, I want to kill myself. I can't handle existing. I couldn't handle the idea of existing, and I couldn't handle the idea of not existing. So I was really stuck in this kind of crazy headspace where I was just constantly, for a week, I was in bed, I couldn't eat, I could barely breathe. And it was a struggle to sleep as well. I was just fucked. Because I just couldn't handle existing, and I couldn't handle the idea of not existing either. And I remember the thing that brought me out of it was I just had some Red Dwarf on. I was watching some Red Dwarf, the comedy show. Don't know if you know it. It's a British comedy show, kind of old now. and there was just a scene on it that was silly, and it was fun. It was funny, and it made me laugh. And in that moment, I realized I came up with a new philosophy that got me over that kind of crazy headspace, which was, why worry? Because worrying about existing and not existing, when you've got no control over it because you do exist and then one day you're going to die, worrying about it is the only thing that comes from that is you going crazy, and it doesn't help anything. So just let it go. Why worry about it when worrying is only negative? Causes more problems. Yeah, exactly. So the comedy show Red Dwarf, and that moment, and realizing that I was just worrying, and worrying was only negative, I don't know, it just snapped me out of it, and then I was okay. And I've had kind of like what you might call panic attacks and bad time on like weed occasionally since then over my life. But I've always managed to sort of handle it in a way, because I know that it's just kind of weed induced, and I know that worrying isn't that philosophy's just kind of always stayed with me to deal with difficult moments in life since then, is what I'm trying to say. Or difficult moments of existence, I should say. You have one friend because of that reason you can't deal with drama. They can't deal with drama, or you can't? Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean. And what sort of drama? Or you mean you just leave if someone tries to start talking crap? What sort of crap? Just like meaningless shit to bring attention onto themselves or something, or like existential crap, like relating to what we were just talking about? It sounds like a good strategy, though, in general. Like people lying about things you've said, or assuming things that aren't true, yet tell other people it's true. Oh god, there's so much. I know what you mean, mate. There's so much of that in the world, isn't there? And you know where that comes from, ultimately? It's society just being meaningless, right? People attach themselves to ideas and lies and all of this kind of nonsensical behavior to try to scrabble around finding some meaning in their lives and something to attach to and something to make themselves feel important in some way. And I'm sure that all generally comes from society being meaningless and them not having a real outlet for their naturally motivated passions and stuff and opportunities to live a meaningful life. If you take opportunities away from people to live a meaningful life, when humans need to be connected and live a meaningful life in order to stay sane, what are you going to get? You're going to get loads of random shitty behavior, like people attached to stupid lies or ideologies and just arguing for the sake of trying to win an argument so that they feel better about themselves, and it's just all complete nonsense. I assume that's what you're talking about. You had a friend from the UK you were friends with for 5 years and you left in an instant when he tried to tell lies about you. Yeah. It's sad, isn't it? Like, people create drama to try to find some meaning or purpose in their life, right? Because why would people behave like that if they had the opportunity to do whatever they wanted to do and whatever they loved doing without worrying about all these shit worries that we force on them through the education system, through forcing them into doing things they don't want to do, through stressing them out about getting a job and making money and all of this shit, right? So I guess what I'm saying is, when you put that behavior in perspective, you can understand where it's coming from and maybe blame those individuals a bit less for it, even though it's their responsibility to recognize it and change it in the world, like it's all of our responsibilities to change the world. It's important to understand where this behavior comes from rather than judge people immediately for it as an individual case, if you see what I mean. Sucks you miss him, but you don't deal with that stuff. Yeah, I don't blame you. And it does suck. Sorry to hear that, but I guess that's why I'm saying what I'm saying now is, once you understand people's behavior and put it into the context and understand where it's coming from and the root cause of it, it'll help you maybe put it in perspective and understand where they're coming from. And who knows, maybe you'll be friends again in the future and you'll reconnect and he'll have learnt from it, and who knows, right? But the more you understand people's behavior as a product of their context and their experiences, most of which is shaped by society and the meaningless pursuit that humanity has, which is all in line with money and GDP and meaningless things, the more you can understand behavior like that and blame individuals less, or rather judge individuals less for it, even if it is their responsibility to get through it and change it and recognize it. But then you can become a force in the world that can help people recognize that their behavior is coming from that, and it's not necessarily their fault, but it is their responsibility to change and offer that perspective to them, and then that might help them change their behavior, align themselves with truth and love again instead of fear and lies. And, you know, the more people change like that and help other people change like that, the better the world becomes, and it just snowballs, you know? He's very toxic. He's kept telling you to kill yourself, but he's just a little stinker. You don't really take anything seriously, so you still miss the cutie. That's the thing, like, if anyone behaves like that, they are going through a tough time, right? They are not happy. If anyone behaves like that, they are having a horrible time. Their life experience is horrible. They are really struggling, and they're trying to take it out on other people to deflect the issue away from themselves because it's too painful for them to recognize their own life situation, you know? That's really where that behavior comes from. And you can see why it's so prevalent these days, because the world just doesn't make sense. You know, the context I just described promotes that sort of behavior more than it does anything else, because people don't have a meaningful direction. And trust me, when he was a baby and he was growing up, or at any point in life, I bet you at no point in life did he think, right, I'm going to grow up and be a toxic person. people don't want to be toxic. They end up being toxic because their life sucks. And they have no way to deal with it, and they have no escape from it. It's like similar to you were saying earlier. Everyone wants to live in a better world, but it's never going to happen. You know? It's that hopelessness that drives such behavior, which is why I'm here to challenge that hopelessness and say, look, it's not hopeless. You and me and everyone, it's in our power to change things. All we have to do is decide to change things. It's not hopeless. There is a way forward. This is it. You know, have faith, have hope, because if that hope dies and that faith dies in you, you're going to have a shit life and everyone's going to have a shit life. We all have the power to change things. In our own little way, but in our own big way too, because if everyone does that little change in themselves, and then the ripple effects for humanity are endless, because that person will then go through life being a better person, and then whoever they meet, their positive energy will rub off on them, and then whoever they manage to change will then have positive effects on the people they meet. And you know what I mean? That's what I mean by ripple effect. You align yourself with truth and love and escape this fear and lies mentality that's forced on us by society and the stupid systems in it, and instead stand up for what's right in the world and change those systems, because we have the power to change those systems. We are the only ones with the power to change those systems. Then life becomes a meaningful adventure where everything improves for everybody. They will definitely make themselves known, I know that for sure. Yeah, or maybe one day they'll get over that too. But hopefully you know what I mean. Hopefully I'm making sense. And hopefully you can take something away from this. And hopefully you keep hanging out and take more away from it. The point is, the more these ideas are communicated and discussed openly, the less we judge and the more we understand people, the more easily we can all individually align ourselves with what's right and true and loving in the world, away from the fear and lies and the bullshit. The more likely the world is to change for the better. And it's that simple, really. And it is in all of our power to do it, and it's all of our responsibility, because no one else is going to do it for us. Certainly not the government or the corporations that are currently feeling, quotes, happy in their power position, even though the world being different would be better for them too, because their power games are meaningless completely as well, even if they, quotes, benefit from them at the time. Where was I going with this? I wanted to summarize and wrap up, because I've got to go. But you get what I mean. And it's all of our responsibility. And if you personally, all you have to do to change the world is try to align yourself, like I've been saying, take the path, in whatever details, don't worry about the details. If you know you're living in truth and love and aligning yourself with what really matters and your true fundamental principles, you'll know that in your soul. You will have a positive impact on anyone that you meet because of that. You let the details work themselves out, and they will surprise you as you go through life. You can mention it and this and talk to people about what really matters and shrug off the lies and the meaningless bullshit like it sounds like you're doing, which is great. You can say, we have the power to change the world, and if you don't believe me, come to Clapfish TV on Twitch There won't be any ads. He's not there for the money. He's just there to make an ever-growing community to change the world, and that's literally his only goal with it. And, you know, the more you do that, the world will change more. You know what I mean? It's inevitable. It's like what you've heard before. If you say you look good or you look great, maybe you look amazing, they have stronger meaning, which can get a bigger smile depending on the word. I think I know what you mean. Having a positive outlook just spreads that positive outlook, spreads positivity. And yeah, smile at people as you go past them. Like, I was walking back from the climbing gym to my car yesterday, and there was a guy, just like an old guy, doing some gardening around a business office. And, you know, it smelled like nice fresh cut grass, and it was lovely, and I just looked at him and smiled and say, "How do?" And he was like, "Hey mate." Just those little moments can really make someone's day, you know? And it was really nice. Instead, I could have been looking at my phone and ignoring everyone and just, you know, had a stern look on my face like most people. But no, I look people in the eye and I smile and say, "How do?" or whatever. And it not only does it make their day better, it makes my day better, because it's nice to be nice. Anyway. People love communicating, yeah, everyone is so scared to. Now, yeah, that's a big part of the issue. And people are scared to largely because of the control imposed on them by society, by media, by government, by corporations, because the government and corporations want you to be scared and want you to just buy things, and it's all in the name of the economy and money and keeping you under control. But really, like you said, everyone wants a better world. Everyone wants to be more connected. At least the vast majority of people. All we need to do is bring people together, recognize that fact together, and change the world together. It's that simple. Anyway, on that bombshell, I better go, because I've got to get a shower, get some breakfast, proper breakfast, and head off to see my family today. Get to see my brother and my niece and my parents. That'll be sweet. But yeah, so I won't be back this afternoon. But tomorrow morning I expect I'll be back, and maybe tomorrow afternoon as well, we'll see. We'll go from there. But thanks for hanging out. It's been really nice chatting to you, dude. Having a proper connected conversation with you. I know you'd been here before, but sort of in the background and stuff, so that's been really sweet. Good to get to know you better and stuff, and I wish you all the best, buddy. And I'm going to be here for the rest of my life trying to make the world a better place. You know where to find me. And invite whoever you want. Spread the words, you know, because that's all you've got to do, is spread the word. Talk about love and meaning and truth, not lies and fear and fantasy and bullshit. But I'm glad you enjoyed it too, dude. Nice to see. Alright, take care, buddy. Be kind to everyone. Choose love, not fear. And I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.